Hello, I'm Warlord 100 and welcome back to another Hail Caesar Battle Report on my channel. Today we're going to go to 430 AD into the Eastern Roman Empire, where some Huns have been raiding and pillaging with their allies, well, subjects shall we say, across a stretch of the Roman Empire, and are now being caught heading back laden with booty, hence unable to get away quick enough. The Roman detachment has been in pursuit of them for some time and is rather surprised now to have caught them, given the fact that the Huns used to just slip away. But yes, this Hunnic army tends to be a bit slower than most and is laden with war booty, so yes, has turned at bay to see if they can see off the pursuers before they manage to cross back into their own territory and make good of their dastardly means. Okay? So another Hail Caesar game report. I've been looking forward to doing another one of these. I've painted up some more models to go, and it's going to be quite fun. And as you can see, it's a fairly Spartan looking battlefield, good for cavalry because I've got plenty more of that this time than usual. And should be good fun to get these new toys out on the board. I've been listening to feedback from some of my other battle reports, and I'm going to endeavour to keep the camera a bit more calm this time, a little bit less of the rapid jerky movements. If any do stray in there, then I apologise now, but overall it's going to be a nice slow pans and things. Try and keep it easy on the eye, okay? But enough of this. I'm going to show you show you off the collections and tell you which side comprises of which units and models. Right then, starting with the Hunnic Horde. Okay, so we've got 3 divisions in the Hun army, only one of which comprises of Huns, the others comprising of subjects. It's probably why they got caught up with. But so as we go, we've got the commander here. There's a commander in each division, of course. This one, they're all going to be command value 8 for the purposes of this game. So I'll just see if I can catch him there. There's the commander for the overall commander for the Huns, and he's got all of his cavalry with him. So there's 4 units of Hunnic light cavalry. Okay, as you can see there, they're all horse archers, but with the light cavalry combat stats, so they're quite good. I've also given them all tough fighters as well to get that re-roll in the first round of any given for a re-roll of 1 miss in each close combat, just to give them that extra bit of edge that they seem to historically have at this time. And they've also got the feigned flight rule as standard, means they can break from combat if they need to, and quite fun. Looking forward to using these guys. As you can see, there's also a very chunky looking unit here, and these are Hunnic noble cavalry with Kontos, heavy cavalry stats, very powerful, but they also have long range bow firepower as well. So kind of possibly the best unit in the game in terms of cavalry at least. So looking forward to using them. Very hefty unit because they're all metal, so looking forward to pushing them around the table. Okay, let's carry on, see who's joining this motley crew. We've got 2 units of subjects, and they're kind of could be from a number of different tribes. Apparently Gepids and I'm going to use the Goths. Basically, they're going to come under the broad curtain of one of the Gothic tribes, displaced or however. There's 1 division here comprising 2 units of heavy Gothic cavalry and 2 units of heavy infantry as well. Much the same as my previous one, I'm differentiating between heavy, tougher Gothic infantry and less tough by who's got the front rank of fully armoured and tough looking guys. Okay, and in this division, both of these units have got heavy armoured people at the front, so they're going to be counted as heavy infantry for the purposes of this game. Over here in the other Gothic division, we've only got 1 such unit, so 1 unit of heavy infantry. The rest are all fairly unarmoured from the plastic gripping beast set, so they're going to be medium infantry. Okay, and a couple of units of skirmishers, small units of skirmishers here, 1 with slings, 1 with javelins. Okay, and what was I going to say? Oh yes, all the Goths in this I am imposing a few limitations on, because they do tend to they're going to have a bit of a combat factor advantage against the Romans they're facing. because they were very much looking forward to just getting back home with all the loot they've got, and they're very much unenthusiastic about turning around to fight the Romans. They are all only going to be activating if they roll less than the command value required rather than equal to. So, 7 or less, and progressively, lower numbers required for more moves, etc., etc. But equals will no longer count as being a success, unfortunately, for them. And also, they're going to have the levy rule as well to represent the fact that they're, the subjects. They're not particularly, again. Now that they're having to fight for their booty, they're not really in the mood, and they'd rather just slink off home, and this will represent it. It'll make it a bit harder for them to shake off disorder, should they get it. Of course, if with the right dice rolls, neither of those two negatives will make any difference, but who knows, it might prove decisive, it might prove inconsequential. That's quite part of the fun. I like adding on little generic special rules, and these all apply to all of the Goths, regardless of whether they are the heavy cavalry or the skirmishers. They're all going to be counting subjects and only activate if it's a lower command value than needed. Right, that's the Hunnic army. I'm going to take a quick look at the late Romans, and I'll be right back. And with the Hun army marching off in the distance, we'll focus in on the late Roman army arrayed against us. So basing this loosely off the Eastern Roman, because I wanted to put cataphracts in it and without feeling too historically inaccurate. Right, so once again, just like the Huns, we've got 3 divisions. 1, 2, 3, with a leader each, commander each, shall we say. We'll start with the first one. The general has once again got the best units himself, so here we are. All command value 8 again. So here he is, our late Roman general, with 3 units of heavy cavalry behind him. 1, 2, that's cataphracts, and 3 there, okay, and 3 units of light cavalry of varying types. So we've got 2 units of standard light cavalry with javelins, and a unit of late Roman horse archers. So yeah, you can hear them sobbing now as they've got to go up against the slightly more superior Hunnic equivalents later on. Moving on, we've got 2 infantry divisions as well. The first one here, led by this chap on his horse with his friend. 2 units of late Roman infantry, standard legionaries, and 2 units of light infantry archers. So actually, yeah, these are the infantry for the legionnaires for this, to reflect the fact that they're a little bit softer than their predecessors, and money is tight, etc., and everything. These are going to be medium infantry. Unfortunately for the Romans, the days of heavy infantry legionnaires are over for the purposes of this battle. However, they do have pillar, meaning enemies get -1 on their morale save in the first round of any given combat. It kind of reflects the amount of missile fire that comes out of one of these units. They had lots of javelins, lots of heavy darts, things like that. So yeah, it's 2 units of legionaries, 2 units of light infantry archers here, and the second division is 3 units of legionnaires and a unit of light infantry archers in front, and the obligatory scorpion, which I don't know if this is the same kind of standard model that I don't know how much technological innovation happened over the course of many hundreds of years, because the Scorpio is kind of like a fixture for quite a long time, isn't it? So yeah, I wonder if they just kept the same same design, or how the technology changed on these over the years. But never mind, the stats stay the same, so there we go. But yeah, that's the late Roman army. Yes, all the legionaries are going to be drilled, because we still have that, but yeah, otherwise they're going to be suffering for stats, but not too bad in terms of commandability. We'll see if that makes the difference. Okay, gonna go deploy, and be back with you in just a moment. Right, deployment is now complete, and let's start with the Roman army facing across from me. I've put out here, so we'll start with the main cavalry, the overall commander's command, as it were. massed on their right, the Hunnic players left, and here they are. So the cataphracts in the centralmost point of the board, backed up by heavy cavalry on both sides and a unit of light cavalry just over there. The remaining parts of the commander elsewhere in open order, so as not to be affected by the movement, the distance penalty for command. Moving further, we've got one of the two infantry divisions here deployed with the legionaries behind and the archers in front. Standard, I'd have thought, for defensive posture against cavalry attacks. And then again, archers in front, legionaries behind for the other one, back with the Scorpio there on the left of the division. And finally, yes, as I said earlier, the remaining two units of light cavalry, horse archers in front, just to cover the flank a bit and give a presence over there, just to prevent any really nasty tricks from getting around the sides of the legionaries. Okay, right, let's zoom out and just going to gradually move around so we can see the Hunnic deployment from the other side of the board. Here we go, and there they are. Okay, right, so a big old mass of barbarians bearing down on the Romans. Okay, Huns put their main command, all the actual Huns in the middle. A bit unusual for tactics, but this is, I'm just going up a bit of historical stuff and figured that keep the best stuff in the middle, and this is definitely their best individual command. So as you can see, a horde of light cavalry, horse archers around, and then the core of the army, the unit of noble Hunnic cavalry, just there next to the commander-in-chief. All right, to their right and our left, we've got the stronger of the two Gothic divisions, shall I say, the heavy cavalry in front and the two units of heavy infantry behind, ready to sledgehammer their way through the Roman defences. And to the right of the army here, as we can see, on the army's left actually, if they're facing us, yes, the other unit of Goth infantry with the skirmishers about to infiltrate into the wood. Okay, right, so that's the deployment. It should be a bit of a laugh finding out how this goes. It might be completely one-sided or not. You can't tell, and the dice rolls for command will adjudicate much anyway. So, okay, we're going to move now to turn number 1. I'll work out who's going first, and we'll get this shindig started. See you in a moment. Well, I've just completed the first turn for both sides, and it's been fairly uneventful. Not the start I was really hoping for, to be honest. The Huns actually won the die roll to go first, and in a flurry of 10s, failed every single command check they could possibly have tried. And yeah, there you go. They have not budged an inch, not done any shooting, of course, or anything at all for that matter. Bit of a non-starter, a breakdown in the command. They're obviously just finishing off their breakfast or something right now. So move to the Romans, who effectively got the first turn after all that. Not too much happened from them, deciding to the two infantry blocks deciding that they were going to stay put anyway, because they have archers and they don't really want to advance towards the horde, so to speak. Let the enemy have their command problems for now whilst they knock their bows. Meanwhile, the cavalry commander managed to move. Well, he moved up one just to tease out. Didn't want to get too far out. Started to point his brigade inwards towards the middle of the board where they can start doing some real damage. And he also moved the two units of skirmishing cavalry over here, including the horse archers, who did get close enough to let loose a small volley at the Goths over here, but unfortunately they missed with both their shots, so not even a morale save was forced there. So pretty uneventful, cagey start from both sides. I'm going to go into turn 2 now, and it's going to get good at some point, trust me, I hope. Well, Hun turn number 2, and things have started moving for them. Hurrah, hurrah. Start with over the far side. You can just about see probably the skirmishers have started to infiltrate into the densely wooded area. So that's them. They're still too far in to be able to shoot out or see out or what have you, so nothing else really there. The block of infantry then stubbornly refuse to budge. They really, really just want to get home with their booty. So they're not in the mood for advancing towards the Roman cavalry. The Huns themselves exploded out from the centre. As you can see, their their light cavalry running hither and thither, off to do some slashing and bowing and all those sorts of things. They even managed to move up the noble cavalry a little bit, more for my own peace of mind or not. There's about 50 quid's worth of heavy cavalry sitting there, all painted, and I don't want them falling off the back of the board, so wanted to shift them forwards a little bit. And even the other Goths actually managed to pass a lot of orders to get forwards, but they were in turn now blocked by their own light cavalry. So there you go. Not unfortunately for them, everything just started moving just at the same time rather than in nice ordered amounts. But yeah, I wasn't 100% certain that the Goths here would actually move at all given last turn's performance, so felt I needed to bring something out, and these cavalry are racing over to screen from the light cavalry over here on the Roman side. Right, okay. Some shots rang out. Well, that sounds like gunfire. Some bows happened, bows loosed, and unfortunately, no results anywhere across the board. Over here, these ones couldn't quite see through this dense blocking terrain here, which is impassable, incidentally. And these guys are out of range, and the two units of light cavalry over here both opened fire on the cataphracts, but because they were cataphracts, only one hit actually landed, which was easily saved by the Romans. So long-range shots at cataphracts isn't really a good idea, to be perfectly honest. It's not a guaranteed thing for damage, but hoping for some disruption, but didn't get it. Right, that's that. We're going to go to the late Romans now to see if they can make the better use of their second turn. And for the Romans' part, are following some equally rubbish command rolls, only one division shuffled forwards a bit to get some shots. The light infantry archers here and the Scorpion opened fire upon this unit of Hunnic cavalry here. Unfortunately, it was not sufficient to cause any hits. Again, firing open order over 12 inches away, there was 6s to hit and not a single 6 came out of the pile. That's it though. I mean, unfortunately, the division back there failed its order, and only the legionaries are drilled, so only they would be able to move, and they're blocked by the archers in front who aren't drilled. And over there, the cavalry commander decided he was going to try and detach a unit of light cavalry on the end to charge at some skirmishers who'd strayed too far into the open. But failed his first order. That ended the Roman moves. So there you go. Unfortunately, that's that for them. They've not really been able to take advantage of the Gothic problems. Right, over to the Huns now. Okay, the astute amongst you might realise that quite a lot's changed, and some things haven't at all. But we'll start over here for the Huns' turn, and they moved up a bit more. Their cavalry decided not to, although one unit of light horse archers here did use initiative just to move closer to their counterparts over here. Right, so again the big block of infantry back here decided they weren't getting involved. No, not for them today. But the Goths, the other Gothic, the slightly tougher and obviously a lot more enthusiastic Gothic unit decided to go ham. One of the units of cavalry slammed into the archers, sneaking out the front of the Roman division over there, and their infantry, it got bored waiting behind these guys and decided to start moving this way. It was very low, very good command rolls to get them this far up. Shooting then happened. There's no damage done to the horse archers from these guys. A few hits though did start blossoming among the Roman ranks. The cataphracts finally succumbed and took a single hit from horse archery. Over here, the slingers on the edge of the woods opened up on the heavy cavalry, but failed to hit anything at that range. And the javelin, the Gothic javelin men shot at the light cavalry here with their javelins and did 1 point damage. So there you go. That's that. Into the more interesting part. I'll just have to move round. I'm trying to be a bit slower than usual to avoid jerky movements, etc. The cavalry actually now started crunching up here. There was a unit of Roman archers here. They're gone now. They did 1 point damage on the way in with their closing shots, but it wasn't enough. The cavalry then did a sweeping advance, not going disordered, into the Roman legionnaires behind, who are all medium infantry, let's not forget, and smacked them up too, dealing 4 points of damage. This is heavy cavalry, obviously. However, the weight of Roman supports and just the amount of damage they were doing made the Goths go shaken here. So although the Goths won the combat overall by 1 and forced the Romans back in disorder, all of them, they can't then pursue on. But they've gone in, they've disrupted a lot and done a lot of damage. So they're happy. Okay, but yeah, that's them done for now. Okay, and that's the end of the Gothic turn. Well, the Hunnic turn, shall we say? Just the Goths have been doing most of the fun, having most of the fun. So there we are. We're going to move on to the Romans now and see what they get up to. I'm probably going to have to start splitting the movement and the combat bits now for clarity. Okay, right. So here we go. Well, I've moved to the late Roman perspective now to give you a better idea as to what's going on. So this is just completed their movement. I think it's their turn 3, perhaps, and or maybe 2. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's their turn now. So right on initiative, the unit of light cavalry with javelins has moved to be close to the shaken Gothic heavy cavalry. Their horse archers are here, just ready to face down their Hunnic counterparts. Obviously, their infantry on their left is all still disordered, but they have turned their Scorpion to face. The other division finally got into gear and actually moved one movement forward to bring their bows into range, and their horsemen have actually also done some stuff. The light cavalry units on initiative moved into combat with these skirmishers over here who've been rather too ballsy. The heavy cavalry have all managed to move up, and they're starting to bring themselves into thumping range of various enemy parties, shall we say. Right, let's gonna finish that up and do some shooting and combat, etc. There was a unit of Gothic heavy cavalry here. It's gone now. Weight of javelin, short range fire from the light cavalry, the unit here, and also the Scorpio launching point blank bolts into it, caused a certain amount of hits, shall we say, that made it all too easy for them to scatter and be destroyed. So they did all right though. They wiped out a unit of Roman archers and also did huge damage to the unit behind. So not a complete waste. It's I thought it was meant to be the Huns who were doing this kind of thing, sucking the enemy in and wiping them out. But no, nonetheless, it was a fun charge, shall we say, and they did good. The Roman horse archers did no damage to the Huns opposite them. These units of archers loosed and did a solitary point of damage to their Hunnic adversaries over there. The heavy cavalry actually used their short range shooting value to do a point of damage to the skirmishers in the woods, and in close combat the light cavalry did actually manage to defeat the skirmishers and force them back in disorder here with 3 hits to their name as well. So that's that. We're going to now go back to the Huns for their turn. Things are really starting to get close and personal. Right, well, the Huns activated and certainly got some stuff achieved so far in their movement and command phases. Right, where to start? Well, over here in the woods, just the skirmishers are doing their thing. They backed up a touch just to keep out of harm's way. Even the block of infantry moved forwards. Wow, they got a whole move. Well done them, finally, to edge forwards. On initiative, the Hunnics over here charged their counterparts. The Romans evaded very easily and have buggered off. These guys will be firing their bows at them afterwards. The Goths on this side, the infantry passed rolled incredibly well for their orders and actually managed to fan out into line again, and and they're moving forwards with gusto towards the rather soft-looking Romans now, after vengeance for their heavy cavalrymen comrades. Speaking of heavy cavalry, the other unit of heavy cavalry failed its order and is deciding to sit this bit out for the time being. It's probably wondering which direction to go, to be honest. For the Hun cavalry, they had an interesting turn. 2 of their units of horse archers piled in to the archers over there into close combat through a series of arrows. Only 1 hit landing home to add a second point of damage to that one there. Normally I know that horse archers have to be in open order, so they're not actually usually allowed to charge the front of formed troops such as these archers, but given the fact that these are Huns and they were quite close combat oriented as well as archery oriented as well, I decided to waive that rule for Hunnic light cavalry only for the purpose of this game. I think it's it's in keeping. I don't think they've got decent stats and tough fighters, so I thought they'd go in. It's not their forte, it's not their great use of their mobility, but I thought again they'd take the opportunity to pick off some archers in front. Let me know if you think that's a gross overreach on my part or not. But the noble cavalry for the Huns also edged forwards and turned to face the encroaching horde of Roman heavies as well. So we've got a bit of a showdown coming as well. So that's where the dispositions are at the end of this Hunnic movement phase, and we're going to move now to their combat phases and see what damage gets meted out against all and sundry. Okay, plenty to relate now. Well, in the foreground, the Hunnic archers just put some arrows into the backs of the evading Roman counterparts and did 1 point of damage. Otherwise, we're going to have to move up the board. Sorry, try and be as gentle as possible to avoid hurting those with motion sickness. Don't blame you. Right, so weight of bow fire actually caused and slings. Sorry, it caused a couple of points of damage on this unit of Roman heavy cavalry, forcing them to move backwards in disorder. That goes the cataphract side support, shall we say, for now. The archer, the noble cavalry did use their bows on the cataphracts, but didn't actually manage to achieve anything. The combat over here, finally the Roman light cavalry dispatched and routed the skirmishing Goths just there, and they've turned sideways to see the skirmishers inside the woods now. And let's have a look. Oh yes, down here the light infantry archers were here. They got charged by the Huns, and both the Huns managed to defeat them both rounds in both individual combats, forcing them back behind their legionary support. Didn't actually force them to. They pushed back in good order, but nonetheless back through their legionnaires. And what was I going to say? Sorry. The Huns, for their part, one unit went shaken and the other took a couple of hits, but otherwise they're all right, good to go. They just need to take off a point of damage before they'll be able to do anything offensive again. But that's basically it for the turn. So it's all hotting up really well at the moment, and lots look like it's about to kick off. Back to the late Romans. Back to the late Roman perspective for this movement and command phase, so let's have a look. Right, on initiative, the light cavalry swept into the woods trying to beat the skirmishers out, who managed to evade not only over here, but then got subsequently charged by the cataphracts, who they'd ended up in front of, and ended up all the way back over there. So they've had rather the turn so far, having moved quite far. They rolled some very, very good evade rolls. So yes, the cataphracts lurched forward. The cavalry behind them tried to move up, but only managed to get one order because they were drilled, and so they've sort of moved to try and plug the gap left by their counterparts as well. What else has happened? Oh yes, the Roman legionnaires moved forward to bring the Huns into javelin range, and their light infantry archers have moved into support behind them. Roman infantry learning that they need to really be supported to stand up to the onslaught. Let's see what else over here. Yes, the Roman legionnaires on this side have also moved forward to bring the Goths into what's it called, range? Javelin range. Geez, sorry, trying to remember. Because they realise they need to do some sort of damage to these guys to ease to ease their passing, shall we say. That's basically it. The light cavalry withdrew to enable the legionaries to move forwards. We're going to go into the combat phase, do some shooting and some. I don't think there is any melee, so just do some shooting. Okay, well, some things to relate. No damage done to the Huns here. These two units of horse archers seem quite content just to skirmish lightly with each other for their pay today. But moving on, the infantry, the legionaries here had mixed success. The ones in the middle used their javelins to very good effect on the Goths, who, despite taking no damage and being heavy infantry, still retreated in disorder. So obviously a scarier looking barrage than it actually was. Over here though, the light artillery and the Romans opened up on these guys, dealing 1 point damage, forcing a morale check, but didn't actually result in anything. So these Goths, despite taking 1 point damage, are still here. Okay, carrying on, the legionaries over here managed to shoot and do 2 points of damage, shaking this nearest unit of Hun light cavalry. No damage to that one, but both of these units of Huns archers are actually shaken now, so they really need to be get out of harm's way if they're not going to be routed in some way or other. And that was it. Actually, there was no one in range to use short range combat on, and the cataphracts don't have any short range combat because they are cataphracts. So that's it, and that's that. We're going to go to the Huns now, and see how things shape up now. Right, the Huns have struck in style, I think. Yes, so they activated. Lots of stuff happening on initiative. First of all, the Goth heavy infantry charged into the Roman legionaries there, and they're looking forward to bumping and grinding a little bit there. The Hunnic light cavalry, here we are, charged into the horse archers, who not only evaded behind their lines, but so that's that, but also allowed the Huns into the sides of the Roman field altogether, I suppose. So maybe havoc there, see if the Roman light cavalry can shore up the line. Let's see what else. On initiative, the Hunnic noble cavalry smacked into the front of the Roman cataphracts, who countercharged. So over 100 pounds worth of heavy metal cavalry hitting each other full on for your viewing pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. But just to spoil sports, the Hunnic light cavalry to the side, I suddenly realised they could charge into the side of the cataphracts, so they have done so. The Romans general is actually with this unit, and I forgot to do that. The Hunnic general has joined too, just for why not reasons, but yeah, so there you go. This should be an interestingly decisive clash. What maybe the Huns light cavalry in front of the Roman legionaries have pulled back as much as they could, respectively, because they kind of need to get out of dodge for a second. The Goths back here haven't actually been able to move this turn, as opposed to failing their order. They just haven't really had much places to go, so they're just going to wait and watch. Meanwhile, the Goths over here, these units still disordered. However, their cavalry then rolled an 8 and failed the order. Don't forget, they need to get lower than the command value of their commander in order to qualify as passing an order, and an 8 fails. So this unit of cavalry is like, not yet, no. And that's that. Going to do some combat now. Got some shooting, got some smacking around as well. So let's see what happens. Hi Chihuahua, there's been some interesting things happening. Okay, well, the one you all want to know about in here. Right, I've finished the combats, however I haven't removed destroyed ones, because I just want to do some little, vanity shots for my own purposes, just to show you. It looks cool. There you go. There's the cataphracts and the Hunnic noble cavalry smashing into each other there. Love it. Right, well, in here, unfortunately for the late Romans, it was a bit of a wash. The cataphracts didn't fight too badly. They actually did 2 points of damage apiece on each unit here. However, unfortunately, they took 15 hits coming their way and only managed to saved a reasonable number, but it wasn't good enough. They lost by 4, including, just to add insult to injury, their commander was killed as well. And they routed off the board. So I'll be picking them up in a moment and positioning the Hun units in accordingly, just to sort of travel around the board as well. Again, the Goth heavy infantry now crashed into the Roman legionnaires, and there's a nice little cheesecake shot. It was a bit again. It was a little bit closer this time, but some dreadful morale checks for the Romans saw them lose the combat by 1, and an equally dreadful morale test saw this unit break and run. That takes the artillery with it as a supporting unit, and this unit, I think this unit was okay. Yes, I believe it was. And another one gone, so they'll be turning to face some direction as well. Horrible stuff for the Romans. What I'm going to do is just tidy up the board, and I'll show you what the dispositions are at the end of that turn in just a sec. Okay, final dispositions for the Hun turn are as follows. So, yeah, in the gap left by the cataphracts, the noble cavalry moved up, and the light cavalry who were in the flank decided to fall back as best they could. The Goths over here just turned to face the side of the Roman legionnaires, but it is the Romans' turn next now. So, yeah, we're going to see if they can get out of this sticky situation as best they possibly can. It's over to the late Romans now. Okay, looking back from the late Roman perspective now, to give you an idea as to how that's going. Right, so some things to happen were that, well, the light cavalry lurched out of the woods and forced the horse archers chose to evade, which they did with aplomb. Oh, that too belongs here. Sorry, excuse me. Once having done that, the Roman heavy cavalry was able to use initiative to charge into the front of the Hunnic nobles, who countercharged. So there's that. So maybe if the Romans aren't caught in the side at the same time, maybe they'll be able to do something a bit more effectively this time, but we'll see. Those contos look nasty, just put it that way. The rest of the Romans, the legionnaires here, lurched forward on initiative to bring themselves into javelin range again of the Hun lights here. The archers behind pivoted on the spot with initiative to face the Goth subjects here, who've turned and are going to be attacking the Roman legionaries. The Roman legionaries have turned to face them respectively, so hopefully the Romans are hoping for weight of firepower to either stop them in their tracks or better still disperse them altogether. The horse archers behind the lines move forwards, not on initiative, with orders from the commander, who's had to be replaced incidentally, and so he's only command 7 now, but managed to move them forwards to sort of intercept the Huns, who are nastily sort of munching up the flank. I forgot to mention, actually, they shot last turn at the light cavalry with javelins, forcing them to fall back disordered, so this cavalry is out of the game for this turn. So yeah, the horse archers had to come back and do it, which allowed the unit of legionaries on the far end to sort of move up to support the flank, well, to protect the flank of the pivoting Romans next to them. Yes, so it's not a traditional Roman battle formation, I don't think, but it's the best they've got in the circumstances. But yeah, they're hoping for the shooting to save their bacon at this point. But yeah, that's how the Romans are now. Finally, I wanted to try and bring the second unit of Roman heavies into support of the first one, who's facing down the Hun nobles, but unfortunately they failed their order, and so they're sitting this bit out, not being the greatest game for them. Move forward, get shot, go back disordered, and stay put. That's all they've got, but yeah, still plenty of dynamism left in this game. Let's get on to the combat. Right then, late Romans have done their combat phase. So let's start with the good news. The massed legionnaires' javelins was enough to disperse and destroy the unit of light Hun cavalry in the middle of the board. So that's one thing. Over here, the massed archery and javelins of the two units on either side of this unit of Goths was sufficient to cause 1 point of damage, to take them up to 5, and it caused a break test, but was not enough. The Goths passed on a 7 in order to remain, both disordered and on the board. So yeah, they're still here. So the Romans really didn't get what they wanted out of that. The horse archers over here did nothing to their counterparts against the Goths, against the Huns. But yeah, oh well. In terms of the combat in the middle, as you can see, there's a conspicuous absence of Roman heavy cavalry, because the Huns have munched through them again. It was bad. I'll just say what happened. I mean, the late Roman cavalry didn't get their charge bonus, because despite the fact that they did charge, the long lances of the Contos, which is what the Hunnic noble cavalry are armed with, was sufficient to to cancel out their charge bonus, you see, which meant the Huns, because they countercharged, did get that and did hit on 3s on their dice. The Romans hit on 4s, which I thought they'd have some hits though, but I've left the dice that they rolled out. I usually try and clear them away, but here they are. This was the 9 dice that the late Roman cavalry rolled to hit with, and when you get that, every hit that's coming back their way was a point against them. They didn't hurt the the Hunnic commander either, not even that, and they lost the combat and were routed. So there you go. And can't really odds those dice, but it does happen sometimes. And yeah, so there you are. That's the Huns have swept forwards. They're now eyeing up the other unit of cavalry there, and yeah, so that's that. Right, in terms of other business, yeah, the Roman light cavalry over here threw a few javelins at the Goths over here, but didn't achieve anything at all. And we're going to move, I think, to the Hun turn now, where yeah, they're going to have to try and tighten the screws on this the bit of a shambles that the late Romans are finding themselves in. Back to the Hunnic perspective now for their turn, and their command phase has been pretty useful. The Hun cavalry, of course, have continued to eat, just to smash into another unit of heavy Roman cavalry who've countercharged. This poor bastard here, the Roman replacement general, who just can't catch a break, was contacted on the way, and he's joined the combat as well by necessity. The Goths down here on the initiative are pivoted to face the light cavalry that have just emerged from the wood. Let's see what else happened. Oh yes, a unit of Huns fell back to the relative safety of the rear of their lines. Another unit of lights has moved in between to sort of like skirmish and cause mischief. Over here, the Goth heavy cavalry from back here have really kicked into gear and passed a couple of orders to put themselves in a very threatening position against this central Roman division over here. And yes, of course, the Goths marching up the centre have regrouped themselves and now gone into obligingly gone into the Romans legionaries just in front of them, and of course the charge further back from last turn. The unit that could not be halted has now crushed into the damaged unit of legionaries there, who have their commander with them though. Finally, just to relate some information from the skirmisher front, the Huns charged the light horse archers in front of them, who dutifully evaded. They redirected into the light cavalry, who are on the board edge, who just have nowhere else to go, so elected to countercharge. And so both units met just about here, I said, and we'll see how that goes. We'll finally actually get some combat on this far right hand side. Okay, so that's how the board looks. It's you're going to get some mess. See what happens next. Okay, well, with a crash of shields on spears, etc., the game has come to a close. Unfortunately, the Romans were just outclassed in the end, and yeah, let's relate exactly how. I mean, over here, the battle of the art of the horseman ended in a draw. The Goths, though, managed to crash into their enemies here with their commander, with them shaking the unit and forcing it back in disorder, whilst giving pursuit. That's shaken another unit. In the combat here, both sides managed to send each other shaken. So in the end, it was actually a tie. So both sides took the break test. The Romans holding firm and the Goths backing off. But in the end, this whole on the Roman leftmost infantry division has all their units are either dead or shaken. So I'm counting that as broken, of course. The cavalry clash, it's just the form continued. Although the Romans did a lot better this time. Actually, it did a bunch of hits. The Hun noble cavalry are now carrying 5 hits altogether. They're general remarkably unscathed, despite contributing to every combat they've been in. They obliterated the heavy cavalry here as well, and it's because it makes a big difference forcing an enemy to not get their charge bonus. It does take the wind out of cavalry quite a lot. I wasn't quite aware that single pip on the dice made so much difference, but it affects so many dice because cavalry have such a massive clash value. So yeah, it does really affect them. So there you go. The Contos did the trick, hitting on 3s versus hitting on 4s, and a whole bunch of hits getting through. Really good rolls again for the Huns, and they took them off the board. So that's the Roman cavalry division broken too, and so that's that. The Roman lights over here were forced back into the woods. You can see them hiding in there from the shower of javelins and arrows coming their way, and the mid-Roman division is now finding itself being borne down on from multiple directions by vengeful barbarians. So at this point I'm going to call it for the Hunnic side. They did well. First time they've had an outing. I've literally just been painting them quite frantically to get them into a battle report, and yeah, I'm quite happy with how they look and how they play. It was really good. I mean, the noble cavalry will probably never ever perform this well again. They Pac-Manned up 3 units of Roman heavy cavalry, one of them cataphracts, and took 2 generals along with them. So yeah, I mean, all without going shaken either. So I'm not sure I'll ever quite get that much luck again with them. And speaking of luck, there were some key moments where the Romans just didn't have the luck, either missing with all of their attacks or failing critical like command rolls, etc., just to get things into just that bit of position. Things like that, you know, but you know, sometimes it all evens out and you just notice the bits which go wrong, don't you? But yeah, it's not been a great day for rolls for the Romans. So I think the sides were a bit more balanced than the game result actually makes it look like. Yeah, it's, you know, it's sometimes it just looks like it's been a wash when in fact there are certain key events which could have swung it quite a lot more the other way. And yeah, I mean, so if I run it again, I think the Romans will probably have to play a little bit even more cagey, make the use of their archers, maybe support their archers a bit better to do some more damage at long range, because the archers they've got could do, you know, cause serious poor support on the Hun-like cavalry, which, you know, were pretty detrimental to the Romans overall today. It's just the thing, I mean, medium infantry, if that's your main combat units, we saw it with the Persians versus the Greeks. It just doesn't seem to work out in the favour of the medium infantry ever. It's funny how it's only a few differences on the stat lines, but it makes such a big difference overall. I'll keep plugging away at it, and at some point, yeah, I mean, the pillar on the Romans did really good, do some severe damage to the Goths when they finally did get in. So, you know, quite a bit of damage there, but once again, just the sheer offensive potential of the Goths coming back at them sort of overruled it anyway. But nonetheless, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this game, and if there was any division that, you know, I'd want to be in, it would be this one back here. They basically had to do nothing all game, and they still get to keep all their booty. That's my kind of way of doing war. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the game. I hope the camera work has been a little bit, you know, more bearable for people. I've been doing my best to hold it as steady as possible. Of course, I do have to move it around and show things off. I'm never going to be able to get a locked off camera where I can just show the whole board in clear detail, because it's just going to be too difficult for me. I don't really have the expertise or the finances to be able to do that, I'm afraid. Sorry. So this is how it's going to be. Please let me know in the comments or what have you if, you know, this has been better or worse. Of course, if I'm lapsing or something, that'd be really good to know. Any suggestions for how I can make it clearer for people or less jerky? I'm well aware that a lot of people were, you know, despite potentially enjoying the game reports, they're finding it a little bit jerky at times, and that's something I want to work on. Okay, so yeah, let me know if this is better. Okay, also, I'm not going to be able to keep doing different armies every time I do a game report. We'll probably go back to Greece for the next one, and you know, for the next Ancients one, that is. Anyway, I haven't got, you know, I'm not able to paint up a new army each time, so hopefully you won't mind seeing repeats of the same, like, armies facing off against each other in different configurations. I'll do my best for that, obviously, and different situations, keep it colourful and different that way. But yeah, I hope, you know, if we go back and do hoplite on hoplite again, then maybe hopefully that won't be considered too, you know, samey for you guys. But again, you know, let me know if that's going to be a problem or not. There's only so much I can really do. Like I said, I can't just keep painting up armies. I haven't got, even if time and resources were infinite, I don't have the storage for it. But anyway, I'm going to shoot off now, get editing. Hurrah. Hope, like I said, for the third time I think, hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I'll see you next time for more games. Hope possibly back to World War II next time, or do some Batman, who knows. Right, take care everyone, goodbye.